Hello everyone, my name is Rob, welcome to Kinetic Rugby League, and this is my round 17 Super League tips and predictions video. So let's get started. Kicking things off, we have the Warrington Wolves at home against the Leeds Rhinos, and starting with form, Warrington Wolves have won 2 in the last 5, and Leeds have also won 2 in the last 5. In terms of stats areas that they lead in, Warrington lead in average gain, clean breaks and tackle busts, whereas Leeds lead in offloads, 40-20s and red cards. Now, both, of course, on pretty poor form at the moment. However, given the injuries that Warrington Wolves are dealing with at the moment and the kind of lack of confidence that there appears to be in the players, I think Leeds are in a really strong position to take a win here. And given that they put in such a strong statement win against Huddersfield last week, completely blew them out of the water. I think it's 54-0, something like that. I think I went with Huddersfield to win, and I just was not expecting that. Leeds had been all over the place, lost to Wakefield of all teams. I thought it was just going to be a bit of a struggle. I mean, maybe they could have won, but huge statement win. They'll be full of confidence. Warrington will be down on confidence. There's no clear spine. For me, the spine that I'd go with is a Warrington fan. I'd take Thewlis at fullback, Dufty at standoff, Williams at scrum half, and Clark at hooker. I love Danny Walker. He's brilliant. But he's not Darryl Clark. Not yet, okay? You've got to start Darryl Clark. You don't put him on the bench. You just don't. That's the spine I'd go with. And then you can kind of, you've got Wrench at centre, Metalti at centre. Russell, if he's fit, we'll see. But, yeah, my team, Warrington, kind of all over the place at the moment with confidence and injuries. Yes, it's not great, but Leeds will be full of confidence. I think it's going to be a real struggle for Warrington, honestly. And I hate saying that because given how well we started this season. But yeah, just the injuries, the confidence is just... I've got a feeling this could be the game that kind of sets the ball rolling for Powell to go, properly. So I'm going to go with Warrington 16, Leeds 28. Next up, we have Wakefield Trinity at home against the Salford Red Devils, and starting with the form of both teams, Wakefield have only won 1 in the last 5, Salford have won 3 in the last 5. In terms of stats areas they lead in, Wakefield lead in marker tackles and total tackles, and Salford lead in drop goals, carries and penalty kicks. Now this one is a fairly clear-cut win towards Salford for me. However, before I give my specific score prediction, I just want to say for Wakefield, they've at least improved one side of the ball. Now, it's of the two sides, it's probably not the better one, and the better one being defence. However, they have improved their attacking side, and they are putting up consistent points on a regular basis. It's not like it's a miracle if they get 6 points. They're consistently getting double digits. Now that might sound condescending or just bad on paper, and it is, but a positive sign that they should really take, and Wakefield fans should take, is that even though they're letting in too many points, they've clearly improved one side of their game. There's a clear improvement where they're consistently getting points each week. It's a start. It might not save their season, but if it's a consistent improvement and they can find ways to either put more points on the board or just improve the defence, they'll come up against teams on an off day and maybe be there for a win. So, given that Castleford have looked a little bit stronger, Hull FC now look fine. They're going to need a quick turnaround. But I just wanted to acknowledge the fact that Wakefield have at least been better on one side of the ball. However, Salford have been really strong. They're a very creative team. And I think this will be a pretty simple win for them. So I'm going to go with Wakefield 12, Salford 30. Next up, we have the Leigh Leopards at home against the Hull Kingston Rovers, and starting with the form of both teams. Leigh have won 4 in the last 5. Hull KR have only won 1 in the last 5. In terms of stats areas they lead in, Leigh leads in metres, and Hull KR leads in runs from dummy half. Again, this is a clear-cut win for me, leaning towards Leigh. Their form has been brilliant. They've been playing exceptionally well. They've figured out the pace of Super League. Lachlan Lamb is playing brilliantly. I mean, the Hull Kingston Rovers are a strong team. I thought that they would really struggle against Salford in the Challenge Cup. They didn't, not even slightly. So, maybe Hull KR is fine. Maybe they are fine. But I think Leigh are just too strong. And there's not really much else to say. So I'm going to take Leigh Leopards 32, Hull KR 18. Next up we have St Helens at home against Castleford Tigers, and starting with the form, St Helens have won 4 in the last 5, Castleford have won 2 in the last 5. In terms of stats areas they lead in, Saints don't lead in any, but Castleford lead in errors, unfortunately. Now in terms of my prediction, I am going to go with a firm Saints win here. Now, Saints did lose pretty badly last week, actually, and Castleford beat Warrington. I would say that, in general, you know, if Castleford and Warrington both had their full teams available, probably would have gone the way of Warrington. That doesn't take the win away from Castleford, because you just play who's in front of you. St Helens were poor last week, very uncharacteristically so. However, I think it's just going to be one of those games where it's just a bit chaotic. Hull FC have been on some great form and wanted some revenge after the Challenge Cup. So, for me, that kind of makes sense in a way, but the performance was so bad. However, I think Saints are a team that can easily bounce back the next week. Castleford are still a poor team. So for me, it's going to be a very clear-cut win. I'm going to go with St Helens 30, Castleford 6. Next up, we have Wigan Warriors at home against Huddersfield Giants. Starting with the form, Wigan have won 2 in the last 5. Huddersfield have won 1 in the last 5. In terms of stats areas they lead in, Wigan leads in kicks in general play and missed goals. Huddersfield lead in attacking kicks. So Huddersfield were demolished last week. Strangely, was not expecting that at all. Wigan put in a solid performance against Salford. Wasn't anything special, but it was a solid win. They played well. I think it's a very clear-cut win for Wigan, this one. Nothing anything like the score from last week for Huddersfield. Even though Wigan, at their best, have the potential to put in that kind of scoreline, we all know it. I think Wigan have been a little bit vulnerable. I think Huddersfield have the kind of players that can find ways to score, even against Wigan. They do have quality players all over their team. So I think, relatively speaking, quite a low scoreline, but a fairly big gap, but nothing crazy. Wigan is still the stronger team. I don't think Huddersfield's going to keep up. So I'm going to go with Wigan Warriors 24, Huddersfield Giants 10. Finally, for this week, we have Hull FC at home against Catalans Dragons. Starting with the form, Hull have won 3 in the last 5. Catalans have won 5 in the last 5. In terms of stats areas they lead in, Hull FC leads in missed tackles. Catalans, however, lead in tries, goals, total points, and yellow cards. I've really liked Hull the last couple of weeks. Great form, defensively stronger, defending their line. In attack, really good. My biggest concern for them is that they make up, or they allow too many meters far too easily, like ridiculously easily. Now, even though they demolished Saints last week, they still let Saints have way too much positive field position. Like, they get sort of maybe to the 30 or 40, then they kick. And even if they pin Saints back inside their own 10, Saints are finishing the set deep into Hull's half. Like, they're not doing anything with it because Hull's, like, defence on the line was brilliant. But in terms of field position, they weren't doing a great job. And against other teams on a different day, that could come back to bite them. So Hull really need to figure out ways to stop letting teams get so much field position on them and letting so many easy meters through the middle. If they find a way to cut that out, they're easily a playoff team. But Catalans, too strong at the moment. I think Hull will allow them to have good field position. Catalans will eat that up. They'll find ways to create opportunities. Artem Morg has done a great job this season at doing that. And they've got players in Davies and Johnston that can finish in the corner. I'm sure they'll get themselves a couple tries. So I do see points available for Hull FC, but just a bit too much for a win. But if Hull were to pull off a win, it's a huge statement. And then I am kind of taking them semi-seriously, but if they beat Catalans, I'm going to be taking them very seriously. So with that, I'm going to take Hull FC 14, Catalans 32. So that's going to be it for this video. If you have any predictions for Super League Round 17, let me know in the comments down below. Also, let me know how you got on last week. But that's going to be it for this video. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.